Welcome to All Day, Everyday Preparedness.
This is a warning for most Americans. When this happens, things will not be the same and your quality of life will suffer. So stay tuned. The stock market is going to crash. Billionaire investors are pulling their money out from the markets.
Looking to offload more of his stake in Amazon, the former CEO is looking to sell up to 10 million shares. This is according to a report out from CNBC, which comes after he already shelled just about $240 million worth of the stock last week.
JP Morgan announcing in that SEC filing that its chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon intends to sell 1 million shares beginning in 2024. At today's levels, that amounts to roughly $140 million. And
they're freeing up billions of dollars in cash. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Pulling out their money. Because they know, guys, the market is getting ready to crash pretty soon. Talking about all these billionaires pulling money out of their stocks because they know the value is about to drop. You don't want to be caught up in that, guys. You may say, well, I don't even have any money in the stock market. How's that going to affect me? We're going to talk about this. So these investors, they know that the stock market is going to crash. A lot of experts are saying that it could fall at the bottom end, guys, 90%. Right now, the stock market is at an all-time high. People are making record profits. But at the same time, boom, if it takes a 90% drop, imagine if we'll look at it in simple terms. If you had $100 in the stock market and it drops by 90%, now you're left with $10 in that account. Those billionaires, guys, they don't want to lose that money. So they're pulling it out now, selling their shares, buy low, sell high. They've ridden it up. Now they're selling. They're getting that cash. But why are they getting that cash? For two reasons. So number one, they don't want to lose their money when the stock market crashes. So they're taking it out. That's number one, because they know the crash is coming. That's why they're selling off their assets. Number two, anytime there's a market crash, guys, values are going to go down. It's going to affect all other sectors, all other industries. You have to understand. When I ask you the question, well, what's not going to affect me because I don't have any money in the stock market? What about your 401k? What about your IRA? Those are going to plummet as well, guys. What about all the financial money that's into the market? We're talking loans for commercial real estate. We're talking loans for residential mortgages. We're talking auto. It's all going to crash down. It's going to affect everything. Anytime there's a market crash, it's going to affect other sectors. Look back at how the real estate bubble burst back in 2007, 2008. The market had a crash at that time. Everything went down. But guess what? It's risen back up to the point we are now at all-time highs. It's going to happen again. That's why they're pulling out their money. Look at all the foreclosures that we're seeing right now. As you know, right now, real estate prices are also at an all-time high in most places around the country. I know for me here locally, my home value has went up like 44% in just 6 years. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But guess what? When this market crashes, guys, just like in 2008, the home values are going to dip down. They know that as well. That's why they're pulling out their cash, because they're about to buy up a bunch of real estate, a bunch of land, a bunch of assets. It happens every time. That's why they're getting in position, and you need to do the same, and we're going to learn more about that coming up. Another effect of a market crash, guys, is a downturn in the economy. Businesses are not being able to be lent the amount of money they normally would be lent, so they're not able to spend as much. They have to cut. Jobs are going to be cut. These businesses, these corporations are going to cut jobs. It happened back in 2008. I know, guys. I was laid off in 2008. Wasn't able to find another good job, guys, for almost a year. So as these businesses are laying off employees, guys, it's going to be a tough time. If you look back at the 1929 crash, guys, between 1929 and 1933, it was something like 24% unemployment rate. So imagine they didn't even have as many people, as many workers as we have now. So imagine if the stock market did drop 90%. Imagine that's the biggest estimate they're giving, but imagine if it just went 50%, guys. There's going to be massive job cuts. People are going to be losing their jobs, millions of Americans. Now, also, guys, as you know, back in 1929, during that crash, many banks, guys, failed. I'm talking about completely went under, and they lost all of their depositors' money. Now, supposedly, since that time, we have a regulation, the FDIC, right? $250,000. But I'm here to tell you today, guys, if multiple banks start failing, which is a possibility, especially the regional banks, and we're going to take a look at some stats here in just a second, your money will not be safe.
I know that you have been taking money out of regional banks and have actually said, let some of them fail. They are not in a good position and maybe they shouldn't be around.
The reasons for regional banks that were important 60 or 100 years ago, due to the differentiation of the economy in different parts of the country, makes no sense anymore because we have digital banking. 98% of banking is done online. But the real issue is the lack of confidence in the management of. Remember, we started with 20,000 regional banks. We're down to 4,500. What percentage of these banks are run by idiots? We don't know.
They're expecting a lot of these regional banks to fail. And it's a good possibility that it's going to happen. And we're going to see about that because they're taking on so much debt, guys. Look at these stats right here. 80% of the economy, 80% of these loans are these small regional banks. The small regional banks are the ones that's holding all this debt. So it's all tied in together, guys. Your money is not safe in the bank. Consumer spending is going to be limited. So look at Warren Buffett, guys. He's pulled back a lot of his shares from consumer spending indexes. Any company, any sector that's involved in consumer spending, he's sold his shares off or cut them back dramatically and drastically because he knows that consumer spending is going to tighten in these next few months, next few years. People are not going to have the money to buy the things that's not necessary. And in fact, guys, as you know, many people are struggling to hold on right now with the high cost of groceries. We're talking about gas, we're talking about utilities, we're talking about groceries. I mean, just the cost to survive. So they're going to not be using all their money going towards things that aren't necessary. So he's cut that back. So consumer spending is going to come to a screeching halt in many cases. We talked a little bit about the housing market and the house values, the home values going down. That's going to happen, guys. But imagine and think about all the people that are tied up. Think about someone that just got a mortgage. They just took out a $400,000 mortgage on their home, let's say a couple of months ago. When all these things start unfolding, guys, the value of their home, instead of being $400,000, it may drop down to $320,000. It may drop down to $280,000. So technically, right from the start, their mortgage is going to be underwater, guys. And that's what's going to be happening for some businesses as well. Businesses are going to close. Again, consumer spending is going to tighten up. Lending is, oh my gosh, it's going to tighten up. Things are about to unfold, guys. It's like the perfect storm is brewing, guys. Consumer debt and credit card debt and student loan debt, guys, as you know, is at an all-time high for many individuals. They're barely making minimum payments. There's actually the default on those credit cards is like up 15%, or it's like a 15% default rate, meaning that there's 15% of borrowers out there that just cannot pay their bills. So all that has to come back to somebody, you know, all these loans. This is a big situation that's going to affect millions. I say millions of Americans. As part of that consumer and credit card debt, guys, we're talking about auto loans. Repossessions are up as well. People are buying brand new cars in this economy and then they're losing them. I saw a video where a guy had just bought a 2024, I think it was a BMW or something like that. It only had 218 miles and was already repossessed. That's what's happening, guys. People just don't have the money to sustain this lifestyle any longer. You need to be in position when it does, because there is going to be a lot of opportunities. Just like the billionaires, guys, that's selling off all their shares and accumulated billions of cash so they can go and buy assets. You can do the same thing. You may not have billions, but bring it down to, scale it down to your level of finances. Right now, if you have a good job, if you have a good income, and you're staying above water, or considerably above water with all the inflation, all the high grocery prices that we talked about earlier, if you're able to stay above that and you actually have some liquid cash, guys, now when these things start happening, when those markets go down, when the housing market goes down, that's the time to get into some real estate, guys, because you can get it for pennies on the dollar. Okay, the value is you're only going to pay for something, or you got to put it this way, you can only sell something at the value of what someone's willing to pay for it. But if the values are going down, you're able to get it really cheap. So this is a great time. Even though chaos and panic is going to be going on financially around us, if you have the extra income, now will be the time to invest. Not just in real estate, but again, guys, back into the stock market. I know there's a lot of preppers out there that You know, they don't talk about investing, and that's fine. You have to do what's right for you and your family. You have to do what's right for you and your family. Stocks are going to come down. Again, buy low, sell high. Just like with the billionaire investors, guys, they pulled their money out. They're able to buy the assets up when they become up real cheap in the market, these homes and different acquisitions they're going to do. But also they're going to be able to put that money back into the stock market when it's low, and they're going to ride it back up. And that's the same thing that you can do right now. If you have the income, if you have the savings, this will be your time to make some more money, to grow your wealth, maybe more than it ever has been before. So just imagine if the stock market plunges 90%, it plunges 50%. That's the time to get into the real estate market as well as back into the stock market, guys, to ride it up and then get out just like these billionaires before the whole thing crashes. Because we know at some point in time, our whole financial system is going to crash, okay? It's just basically, it's fiat currency, guys. It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. But the only reason the value of the dollar is what it is even now is because we believe in it. People believe in it here in this country. People believe in it around the world. They're still using it. But when that faith goes to zero, that's when we're in real trouble. And that's going to happen at some point. But now is the time to position yourself to get in, to make money for you and your family. Again, if you have some cash, guys, a way for you to make some extra money, not just when this happens, you could be doing this now. I mean, the prices of new cars, guys, even the prices of used cars, you could go find a beater. I'm talking about some old car, guys, that you may be able to buy for $500. You may be able to buy for $1,000, $800. Put a little bit of money into it, put a little bit of time into it, especially if you're handy, and you can flip that car and make some income for yourself right now. So just imagine a lot of people out of work, a lot of people out of transportation, and then there are you coming in with an automobile that can give them a mode of transportation cheaper than the market, cheaper than a brand new car. Now you can come in and add that value. There's going to be tons of industries and sectors just like this that you can fill the void, that you can fill the gap, and make sure that you and your family thrive during this time instead of just only survive. Lastly, you need to stock up on food and water and supplies, and that's what you need to do right now. I know money's tight, guys, but hopefully if you've been a follower of my channel, or even if this is your first time, if you don't take away anything that from this video, then what I've said, take this away. You need to stock up food, guys, for yourself and for your family. You need to stock up water and supplies, the things that you will need. Meaning that if I lost my job, I lost my income, I lost my car, things aren't going good for me right now. They're not going good for my neighbor down the street. They're not going good for my parents who are retired. They've lost most of their savings, et cetera, et cetera. Well, at least we have food in our pantry. We have food in our refrigerator. We can at least feed ourselves. We have the things that we need on a essential level to survive. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Continue to prepare, and as always, be blessed.